Here, try by this so you can get in. You wanted that? Right here is cool.
Thank you.
We have George Engel kicking. Simmons goes up the middle to about the 39 yard, about a 17-yard return. Winslow 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line. We have the official timeout.
Should be.
We got an inside
Simon.
handoff to Trey Thorpe.
Simon.
Up to about the 43 for a 4-yard gain. It's going to bring up 2nd and 6.
I'm going to do this right now. I don't know if the tripod's right.
We have a 2nd and 6 at the 43-yard line of Winslow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Equipment violation.
You're clear. By Winslow.
Ava Milner, but I'll do it. Ava Milner.
You think I could put it back? I'm sorry. Is there any way we can?
All right, so we have a 2nd and 6. Trey Thorpe. We got a flag on the play. The stands is about a 3-yard gain, but we do have laundry on the field. That's the spot foul, so that will be going back.
Second. 45.
All right, so the ball's on 35. It's going to bring up a second and 14.
You got it. Yep, you got it. It's just stuck here. Yeah, I got it.
Do you have a zoom handle? No.
We got a quick pass to the left side to Trey Simmons. Gets the yards back, about 5-yard gain. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and 9 from the 40.
It's off. Yeah, you're good right there, right there.
Back across the middle. Jimmy Wilson with the catch at the 30. Takes it up to about the 22. A 38-yard pickup. All the way into Camden Catholic territory. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 20. So that's a 40-yard pickup. First and 10. Trey Thorpe. That's about a 2-yard loss. Look like he didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. So we're starting at the 22. It's going to be a 2nd and 12.
At the end of the possession.
Quick screen, inside screen. He's roughing his way all the way to about the 15. Check that, 16. So that's about a 6-yard pickup. That was Roger Brown on the reception. The 3rd. So that's going to be about a 3rd and 5. Maybe 5 and a half. Cam Miller on the inside. That's a pass, actually. So it's very close to the 1st down. Look like it's a little short. So we're going to say 4th and inches. We have another official timeout. Another uniform situation. All right. And then we got 4th and inches. All right. We have an offside, so that's 1st and goal. Let's see if that's
Encroachment. Defense results in a 1st down.
so we have 1st and goal at the, we want to say the 5. All right, and the quarterback is sacked. That's about a 5-yard loss. Kyle Presley on the sack. It's going to bring up a 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. And we have another sack. That is Dan Dever on the sack. We have flags all over the field, so we're going to let the officials handle this. Let's give it up for our Winslow Township Eagle cheerleaders. They're out here. We have no band tonight, so our cheerleaders are doing a great job to start.
Welcome to our live stream here on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. We apologize for the technical difficulties as we got started in this one. Ethan Carpenter coming to you from Atco, New Jersey tonight as the Camden Catholic Fighting Irish visit the Winslow Township Eagles. It's been quite the active first drive here as now a penalty sends the Eagles back to the 32-yard line.
Now still goal to goal, so Winslow cannot get a first down, and they're on.
Here on 3rd down, Winslow was knocking on the doorstep of the end zone.
3rd and 32.
Lots of activity in their first drive. You might have saw there were difficulties with the uniforms before the first play, and they had to stop play for a few minutes, but we are off and rolling here. Hamas Duran in the shotgun, and Trey Thorpe to his right. It's a 3rd and goal to go here for Winslow Township. That's Cameron Brown, the freshman, coming in, or the sophomore, my apologies, for Winslow Township. Here's a third down snap for Duran. Duran looking deep. He'll fire deep. He has a man, and he's brought in for the touchdown. Oh, what a throw and what a grab.
32 yards.
On a 3rd and goal to go, James Wilson Jr. rips it down, and he needed all 6'1" of them to grab that football. So a drive that looked like it was moving backwards
once again,
ends with a touchdown for Winslow Township.
32 yards to Mr. James Jimmy Wilson Jr.
Talked with head coach Kenny Scott. He said Winslow had over 100 yards in penalties last week, and he wanted to clean that up today. And although that drive ends with a touchdown, you'd like to see them move more steadily up the field as opposed to backwards with the holding calls. Here's the 2-point conversion. Duran with Thorpe to his right. Duran looking, Duran fires, and it's broken up.
Pass goes incomplete, intended for Cam Miller.
Good defense at the point of attack for Camden
Winslow
Catholic.
6 and Irish 0.
And it'll remain a 6-0 lead for Winslow Township with 5:16 left
possession.
here in the first quarter. As we will go to a short break as we await the kickoff, 6-0 on the Play-by-Play Sports Network.
We're alive. You need to be louder.
With the Irish finished 3-3 last year in a COVID-shorted season. It's only a 6-game schedule, but they won as many games last year as they had in the previous 2 seasons. 3-3 last year, 3-17 the 2 years prior. So a lot of improvement from this ball club. As the handoff on first down is stopped nicely. And at Winslow Township front,
Peterson
there'll be a loss there on
for actual loss of 2.
first down for Camden Catholic.
It's going to bring up a 2nd and 12 from the 38.
So 2nd and 12 from the 38. Receiving that handoff was Marquez Hicks, a junior running back who's put up a lot of nice numbers for this Irish offense. And they have leaned on him over the past couple seasons. So here's his 2nd and 12. Kevin Burr, the quarterback in the shotgun. Burr will hand it off to Hicks, and Hicks looking for room. Gets maybe 3 back to the original line of scrimmage, setting up a 3rd down and long.
It's going to bring up a 3rd and 8.
You mentioned Kevin Burr Jr. He's a transfer from Rancocas Valley. Takes over the QB job as a junior. And the Irish definitely looking to balance this offense a little more. They were a heavy rushing team, and how could you not? With Hicks back there, number 22, shouldering the load. As Burr and company facing a 3rd and 8 from their own 42-yard line. Burr is able to handle the high snap, and it's intercepted. 2 mistakes in one play as Emerald Mitchell going the other way, and he's brought down near the goal line. Is he in?
Waiting for the official. Look like
no, the official calls him down at the 2-yard line.
Mr. Emerald Mitchell.
Emerald Mitchell. Better get to know his name, the star for this Eagles defense.
So that's a 40-yard
practically handing this Eagles offense points.
It's going to be Winslow's ball, 1st and goal to goal. That Camden Catholics 2.
Coach Scott praised the football IQ of Mitchell. And he kept an eye on the quarterback there and able to disrupt that errant throw from Kevin Burr. So not a good first drive for the Irish as they open their season. Winslow trying to increase their lead. Duran in the shotgun again. He'll hand it up the middle and in for a touchdown. Roger Brown, the sophomore.
Roger Brown for 2 yards.
And it's a quick 12-0 lead with 3:10 left in the first quarter.
Your Eagles, 12.
You see Duran at the bottom of your screen talking with new quarterbacks coach Christian Hackenberg. You might have heard of him, former NFL quarterback and star at Penn State. As he's been helping Duran develop this season in his senior year. The 2-point conversion now for Winslow. Duran keeps it wide open. Jacob Mitchell. And it's a 14-0 lead. So definitely a way to kick off your home schedule as the Eagles lead by 2 scores. We mentioned a little bit earlier the Eagles played a game last week, a 26-14 loss to Woodbridge. There are quite a few positives to take from that game. They did force a fumble early in the first quarter, and they were able to take the turnover from Woodbridge. Duran got the scoring early, hit freshman wide receiver Cam Miller for his first touchdown. And they weren't able to keep up, though, with that Woodbridge offense. And Coach mentioned to me earlier about the penalties, over 100 yards in penalties for the Eagles offense. They definitely want to clean that up. And there was a little bit of an issue also with the field last week. They were supposed to play in Ocean City, but instead had to play actually at the home field of tonight's visitors, Camden Catholic. So it's a rough first week. It was a game that was very anticipated all over social media, especially when the schedule was released earlier this spring. As Winslow comes into this year off a 5-1 record last year, their best record in over a decade. So many fans wanting to see how this team bounces back this year in the 2021-2022 season, as the short kick is handled by Camden Catholic. Billy McCleary, the senior, able to hop on it for the Irish, and now nice field position from the 35-yard line as the Irish get started for their second drive of the night. Cool evening here in Atco, New Jersey. Again, Ethan Carpenter on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Simon Rosenwasser running camera for us tonight. A lot of fans here as well, especially on the Camden Catholic side. As the Irish take the field in the shotgun again, Kevin Burr. Burr fakes the handoff, nowhere to go.
We have a meeting at the quarterback.
Great play up front, number 72. That's Ronald Jackson. And Burr had nowhere to go. Lucky he didn't fumble that one.
That was Ronald Jackson in the set.
So now it's a second and long for the Irish as we cross 2.5 minutes left here in the first quarter. 14-0 lead for Winslow Township. Burr hands it off. That's Hicks, and nowhere to go. So Hicks is being handled here early by this Winslow front.
It's another loss. It's going to be a 3rd and long. They're back at their 26. I say 3rd and 19.
That was Trey Moore on the stop. 3rd and 25. Irish looking to get some positive momentum as we get into the waning moments of this first quarter. Burr back. Burr looking. Burr's going to run. He has a little bit of room, and on the slide, he's tackled hard by Trey Simmons. There is a flag on the field. The flag looked like it came before the hit. So we'll see what the refs call. The refs have been very active here early with a couple flags here in the first. So the holding on Camden Catholic with 1.5 minutes left in the first, and they will presumably send their punt team out on 4th down. So that's Sean Cullen, the senior, out to kick it for the Irish. And a wobbling kick just crosses midfield, and it goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. So nice field position here for the Eagles. Obviously not as nice as starting at your own 2 like they did on their last drive, as the Eagles will look to increase their 14-point lead here in their home opener. And this shouldn't be an issue starting this far back for the Eagles. They have quite the explosive offense. Last season they had 4 players with over 12 yards per catch. So they can gain yards in chunks as Duran hands it off on 1st down. And not much yardage to be had there. Maybe 3 yards, 2 or 3 yards there on 1st down. As Hackenberg sends the play in there to Duran, as Winslow letting this clock run down in the first quarter. Things seem to have settled down a bit. You saw some pushing and shoving going on about 5 minutes ago when Winslow was driving on one of their earlier possessions. As in the shotgun, Duran throws it out to the flat. It is caught, and making a move up the near sideline is Trey Simmons. Catch and run for Simmons is good for a 1st down.
First down into Camden Catholic territory. About an 11-yard pickup.
So moving the chains are the Eagles. Their offense, despite the penalties, has looked very good here in the first quarter. Good balance of run and pass. Well, you can imagine that they'll get the running game going here soon, as we're at 15 seconds. Clock stopped. Left here in the first quarter. Duran in the shotgun, the pitch out to Trey Thorpe. Thorpe finds a lane. Trey Thorpe is free, and he is in the end zone for an Eagles touchdown.
48 yards.
Flying down the field for a 48-yard touchdown. And dare I say, the route is on. It's 20-0. As we are just about finished with the first quarter here in Atco. So just as I say, the Eagles are looking to get the ground game going. That happens. And now Duran and company will go for 2. You got to wonder how much of this is that Winslow had a game last week and Camden Catholic did not, and you don't know if the Irish may be just a little nervous, have some butterflies in their stomach as they suit up for their first road contest of the season. Duran outside, caught, and the 2-point conversion is good. Jacob Mitchell. So Mitchell has hauled in both 2-point conversions for the Eagles, and they lead 22-0. So head coach Kenny Scott.
All right, we have no band. I'm going to give you some scores. Your local Phillies are leading the Marlins right now, 2-0.
So head coach Kenny Scott has to be happy with the way his team has come out here today.
College football today.
And remember, they started 5-0 last season, so an early season loss like they had last week, not something that this team really had in mind. They have high expectations for this year. But now with a full schedule, it's not 6 games like it was last year in a COVID-shortened season. Plenty of time for the Eagles to rebound and finish this season very strong. Obviously, Kenny Scott won South Jersey Sports Zone Coach of the Year. Play, this Irish offensive line has looked like they had too much to. Out to the left. Burr collapsed. Burr trying to get open on that deep pass from Burr, but in the least slow, and maybe now the Eagles going to direct more attention. My apologies, that was Roger Brown. Not liking what he sees as both teams will talk it over.
Number 1, Alabama destroyed.
And now the 3rd and 14 for the Irish. Burnout all alone in the shotgun, one of the rare times. A big play. So even if Hicks were to catch that football, nowhere to go. Or a safety. But as you might remember on the first one, Burr did call back-to-back timeouts on consecutive plays. Moment to receive the punt for. I mentioned Emerald Mitchell earlier. That was his 3rd career interception. He also has 3 fumbles for loss and 5 sacks. So quite the resume. He's been busy here early to punt it for the Irish, and Trey Simmons, like I mentioned, on the return, the senior 5. As Simmons takes it, and a nice tackle at Reith in the second quarter. Apologize if you missed this. So the worst starting field position for the Eagles, who really have showed no shotgun. Duren fakes the pitch, steps up, fires deep, and it's caught. Zachary Thompson lost his helmet after the nice throw there from Duren. Comfortable in the pocket.
26-yard reception if it stands.
From Duren to Mitchell, looks like it will not. A lot of Zachary Thompson, the guard for. It's pretty common that you'll see a flag as now both teams leave the field. No timeout in the second.
All right, we have offsetting penalties.
So offsetting, pushing and shoving, and now wipe away that 26-yard gain for the Eagles. Winslow already surpassing their point total of 14 from last week. Here's about 8 yards, setting up a 2nd and short. Is there one obviously not counting? To get the Eagles on the board just moments into this one. Wilson Jr. And Jr. makes a move inside, stretches out to the Eagle 48-yard line. Match last season, like I mentioned, showing it off here. Three receivers out to the right for Duren.
Thorpe out across into Camden Catholic's territory.
That looks like a timeout. So as both teams talk it over, it'd be a great time to introduce. And Coach mentioned in his time with Temple, he had 3 different head coaches. And ironically, this Camden Catholic, and it's that shared experience that has made him able to connect with these players so good. And now with a longer season, hopefully their eyes are set on perseverance. We want to mold young men as student athletes. The 41, probably some adjustments made. John second. So Thorpe consistently getting about 4 to 5 yards a carry tonight. Obviously, he had that. Now it's Roger Brown now in at running back to back up Thorpe. Duran fakes it to Brown and tried to turn the corner, but nice defense made. And a nice tackle made by Camden Catholic, picking up a few yards there. It looked like the near side of the field was open. Nonetheless, 3rd and 8. Eagles in a rare 3rd down situation. Not many of them tonight, especially on this drive. As we're at the 7:40 mark. Call timeouts here in the first half to try and get everybody centered and to make sure everyone's staying to their game plan. So it's 7:37 left in the first half. We will take a break. James Wilson Jr., who was looking for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
4 for 9.
The throw was there from Duran, and Wilson had both his defenders going to stay on the field and go for it. And with the way their defense has played tonight, if the Irish were to get the ball at the 40-yard line, gotta imagine Roger Brown staying in at running back. Patient, he's looking, he's going to fire another one down the middle of the field, and it's caught. What a throw, and what a catch. Add another one to the scoreboard, that's Camden. What a throw by Doran. Miller was falling down in the back of the end zone. And the freshman wideout, who had a touchdown last week, been really impressive here in the early
connection.
Safe to say the offense and the defense, really, for the Eagles, this whole team has come to play tonight. During the handoff to Brown. Brown stretches over the goal line. The fans here on the home side are very, very happy. So
all right, so Winslow will be kicking off again.
And we are back. Jeremiah Taylor to kick it off for the Eagles. Jeremiah Paula back to return field position as they look to get on the scoreboard tonight.
Return up the middle and hit at the 43, pushed across. That was number 5 on the return.
Tahani Cobbs brought that back.
43.
They had some really high points last year on the scoreboard. They won their 3 games by an average of 20 points, so they weren't here late in the first and the second as Hicks tries to find room and can't get back to the line of scrimmage. What was there on the stop?
Marcus Hicks.
as Hicks tonight. 4 of his 6 games last, 325 yards rushing. And Winslow doing a great job on him early. As Burr able to handle this change, Trey Thorpe delivered the crushing hit at the 45-yard line. Energized if they weren't energized enough, being up by 30 points. Handling an errant snap. Granted, not able to make much out of that play, but avoiding disaster, what would be a fumble and losing yardage. And another errant snap, and Hicks falls on it.
Go down, the running back recovers, so it's fourth.
Irish offensive line definitely feeling the heat as the front from Winslow has been on the attack tonight. Colin back in, standing just inside the 30-yard line. And play made it to 30. Ball is dropped, but it's picked up.
Trying.
And that's going to be a late hit by Hicks.
Let's go.
So Hicks has going to be a 15-yard penalty, so we'll move the Eagles up to the 47-yard line as they get started on their next drive. And against any team, you don't want to make this. You want to be giving up 15 yards. To talk it over. But now possibly it's picked up and the Eagles will start at the 32. Still decent field position, as we are just under 5 minutes left in the first half. On down here in Atco, beautiful September night. Football is in the air. We thank you for joining us on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Our first football broadcast of Woodrow Wilson. And then for Winslow, they go on the road for 3 straight games, so trying to soak up this home crowd before they actually NJ.com ranked the top 20 teams going into this season. Winslow came in at 15. One of the keys for this team going into this season.
2 ball fouls. Personal foul, white. Personal foul, white. Personal foul, green. We have a dead ball, personal foul, white. Administer that 15 yards from me.
It's on both sides. However, I think there was one more penalty for the Irish. So the 15-yard penalty is going to be applied. So a lot of personal fouls here in this first half.
Leading 30-0.
By my count, that's 5 per 1st and 10 for the Eagles offense. Duran communicating with James Wilson, who is on the far side of your screen. In motion is Cam Miller. Miller tried to make something happen. And cut back, he's brought down at the 46-yard line.
Into Camden.
Nice 8-yard gain on Cam Miller, already with some nice highlight plays. Only 6 quarters into his high school football career. You got to imagine if he keeps getting 7-8 yards a carry like that, he'll be on the field quite a bit for this Eagles offense. Duran keeps it. Duran gets it out just in time. Coming on the backside is Kai Presley, junior defensive lineman, putting the pressure on Duran. And you got to imagine if he holds that football for an extra couple seconds, that's a fumble.
4 minutes left in the first half. Like I said, don't forget, we do have the concession stand.
3rd and short with 4 minutes left here in the first half.
Had a beautiful night out tonight. Hopefully everyone enjoying some Saturday night football.
Duran sends his back in motion. That's Thorpe, a strong run up the middle, and that ball is loose and out, and it's recovered by the Irish.
Is recovered by Camden Catholic.
Just the break that Camden Catholic needed. That's Joel
So
Amagatcher.
they'll take over at their own 40 after the fumble.
The freshman, good awareness to fall on that football. And now we'll see if Kevin Burr and company can take advantage of the turnover. Eagles offense that has been ahead of the chains all night. Has been great in the red zone. Now they're going to have to rely on their defense yet again, who's pitching a shutout here late in the first half. Burr to Hicks. Hicks running far side. Hicks makes a move, strong running, and he falls down just past midfield. That's a first down for the Irish.
Tough run.
Early by the Winslow
That's
front.
Marcus Hicks on the carry. It's about 11-yard pickup. First
Hicks
10.
rushed for over
Into
1,000 yards in only
territory.
6 games last season.
Winslow's
8.4
49
yards per carry. So picking up yards in chunks. Also added 7
35
touchdowns to that
possible.
stat line. What an impressive season. Burr will give it to Hicks again. No, Burr will keep it.
Quarterback keeps.
Faked me out on that one, and Burr goes ahead for 8 yards.
All right, that's an 8-yard pickup. It's going to be 2nd and 2.
Burr looking.
Getting
The
through.
rush gets there, and he
Yardage, so that's about a 7. Well, no, that's an 8-yard loss.
so the
it's
pressure
like
has been there
30
all
and
night for the Eagles, and
They
not
need to
many
get up to
sacks
Winslow.
though, but
About 39.
Corey Williams has something to say about that. A huge loss.
3rd and 11.
Sets up a 3rd and 11. Right at midfield. So another 3rd and long for the Irish. They've faced a ton tonight. They're on the doorstep of Eagles territory. Burr on the screen.
inside screen
Hicks,
with Brett.
nowhere to go. A flag
Immediately.
is on the field.
By the jet. The jet.
Fourth down.
So the plays on the stand. It was really no. Well,
4th and 11 from the 50. Burr all alone in the shotgun for the Irish. No, his left, fires downfield, and no one's there.
So Winslow will take over on downs. There's no.
A couple receivers were in the area of that pass. Not really sure who it was intended for, but nonetheless a turnover on downs. And this Winslow Township defense makes yet another stop.
1st and 10 with 1:55 left in the first half.
So we'll see the approach that head coach Kenny Scott takes here from midfield. A sizable lead. See if they try to run this clock out and get to the locker room, or if they try to get aggressive here on this drive. And you could tell tonight the Eagles brought a lot of players back. Obviously, notably at quarterback, running back, and linebacker, which are arguably 3 of the most important. Motion. Cam Miller makes a move at the 30, spins out of a tackle. Cam Miller still on his feet.
He's great.
Will he reach the end zone?
Take it to the.
Yes, he will. Touchdown, Winslow Township.
A 50
Cam
yard.
Miller will not go down.
That's a pass. So we gotta say that's a pass. The freshman, Mr. Cam,
Lead for Winslow
pushing the
Township.
score to 36. Winslow. Nothing. Camden.
With 3 Camden Catholic defenders,
Going for 2.
it looked like they had him corralled at the 30, but Miller was able to stay on his feet and just runs horizontally across the field and found the alley to the end zone. What a beautiful play with 1:40 left here in the first half.
make it in this time.
Defense there by Camden Catholic. It remains 36 to nothing in the waning moments of the first half.
Just to update the Phillies score, Phillies are still holding on 2-0 against the Marlins. They're in the
So great balance by this Winslow Township offense here in the first half. Cam Miller involved, James Wilson Jr. involved, who had the first touchdown of the night. Jacob Mitchell also involved.
It's a double
And they were able to get the ground game going with Trey Thorpe. As back on the first half, and maybe have a word with your team about is the penalties. The same issue they had last week, but it's been penalties on both sides tonight, not just Winslow. But it's gotten better here in the second quarter. It wasn't as bad as it was in the first.
Phillies are trying to catch. Just keeping updated on the scores.
So Jeremiah Taylor will yet again kick it off for Winslow. He's been very busy tonight.
So the Jet is kicking it off.
So the kick is field at the 45-yard line.
Up the sideline.
And going to midfield, Josiah Bullock,
Marking my bounds.
freshman, trying to get, and still a minute and a half left to try and get something on the scoreboard before halftime.
All right, we got flag. We'll let the official handle that.
This is Kevin Burr's first start.
Offense.
So if you can hear that, but a false start for Camden Catholic. This is Kevin Burr's first start as quarterback, like I mentioned earlier.
All right, so that's a
The starter last season
taking it back
at
to the
Rancocas
40s.
Valley, where each snap, maybe that's throwing some of the receivers off. There's still about, a half second to a second between the clap and when the ball's actually snapped, and a near false start there again.
Quick pass over to the right
As
here.
Burr hits his man on the outside, trying to elude some defenders, is Billy McCleary, who falls ahead for a 4-yard gain on first down. So trying to wind down to about a minute left here in the first half. And we are ready for the second half here on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Again, apologies for some of the technical difficulties in the first half. Should have them ironed up here in the second. Ethan Carpenter with you. It's a 36-0 lead for Winslow Township here in their home opener. Story of the first half, the offense has been very composed. Everybody getting in on the action. Trey Simmons, Jacob Mitchell, James Wilson Jr., and of course, the freshman Cam Miller, who put together probably the play of the first half. Almost brought down at the 30-yard line, spins out of the grasp of one Camden Catholic defender and reverses field and reached the end zone. The defense for Winslow Township has also been great here tonight, getting pressure on junior quarterback Kevin Burr for Camden Catholic. Is the visiting Irish will get the ball to start the second half. That's Jeremiah Paula on the return, and Paula makes a move across the 45, and Paula's brought down at midfield. So there's the energy that the Irish needed to start this second half. There is a flag on the field after, say, about a 20-yard return on the kickoff. If you missed the first half, flags were definitely flying. A couple of false starts, specifically on the Irish side, maybe just getting used to the cadence of Kevin Burr, the transfer quarterback. But also there were some personal foul penalties, a couple late hits out of bounds. It was some chippy football. So the nice return there by Paula is wiped away. And back go the Irish. They're going to start this drive at their own 25-yard line. Let's see if Burr and company can get a little rhythm. Burr rolls out of the pocket to his left, and he's upended near the line of scrimmage. Trey Simmons, a nice stop.
Back to the line of scrimmage with no gain. Second and 10.
Well, even without design quarterback runs, Kevin Burr has been chased out of the pocket on almost every throw tonight. And Burr does have nice speed, though. And one thing also noted in the first half, he did a great job handling some of those errant snaps that were coming through. Burr takes to Trey Thorpe, who's been the star on offense, makes a nice defensive play there on second down. As we now have the running clock with a 36-point game, we're under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. And another third and long for the Irish. From their own 25. Burr steps up, takes off. Kevin Burr off and running across the 40. And smartly goes out of bounds at the 48 to avoid the hit. It's going to be a 23-yard run and a first down for the Irish. Good pocket awareness by the junior QB. We've seen Burr making plays on his feet tonight. He's plenty capable of airing it out as well. Threw for 150-plus yards in 2 games during the COVID-shortened season last year. As he hands it off in the shotgun and across midfield, falling is Marquez Hicks. So Hicks has been quiet tonight. Hicks already with an offer from the Temple Owls back in June. And we assume there's going to be more eyes on him as his junior season goes. And there was a flag on the far side of the field. Tough to see from this angle. But it's on the Irish, so the Irish will yet again move back. So the penalty on the kickoff return, and then another penalty on a solid first down run by Marquez Hicks. Gotta imagine this week in practice, Coach will be talking about these penalties for the Irish, specifically the Irish, who've had most of the flags called on them tonight. Now at their own 38-yard line. Nowhere to go for the Irish offense. There are about 3 or 4 Winslow Township Eagles there on the stop. Loss of a couple there on the play.
Get all the way up to Winslow's 30 to 45.
Clark, the closest receiver, has time, uses that time, fires deep, and it is, we'll see who brought it down. What a strong grab there by Clark. And now the Irish are in business at the 25-yard line of the Eagles. Credit to that Irish offensive line, giving Burr a lot of time to throw that one downfield. It's a 40-plus yard gain there. Confusing the Irish zone for the first time tonight as the handoff is kept by Burr on the QB keeper. Falls ahead to the 10-yard line. Credit to this Irish offense at halftime, knowing they're down 36 and they get the ball out of the break. Just putting together a nice, composed drive. And it's been really on the legs of Kevin Burr, who's had some nice runs. As on cue, he'll keep it again and find his way into the end zone for the first touchdown of the night for the Irish.
Touchdown. 10-yard scamper, bringing the score 36-6.
So the Irish, a team before Burr was here last year, they again heavily relied on the run. They threw for less than 200 yards total for the whole season, so it was really the rushing game that got them through. And now with Burr being able to rush the ball himself, gotta imagine the rushing yards are gonna stack up this season for the Irish as Hicks is brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Mitchell in on the stop. Mitchell and Taylor. Taylor was there to help out. 2-point conversion, no good. It's a 36-6 lead with 5:38 left in the third quarter. On that drive that set them back 10 yards apiece, so 20 yards in penalties. And penalties have really been the story of this game. And hopefully as the season goes for both these teams, the penalties will start to quiet down, especially on the Irish side as they get used to quarterback Kevin Burr and his snap cadence. Despite it being a 30-point game, still relatively full stands here in Atco, New Jersey. Again, Ethan Carpenter with the Play-by-Play Sports Network, bringing you tonight's broadcast. Thorpe back to return for Winslow. He's been doing it all, special teams, offense, and defense tonight. And the short kick is fielded at the 45 by Winslow, but we have a whistle. By the looks of that, might have been an offsides on Camden Catholic, but we will await the call.
Dead ball. Outside.
You don't really see those offsides calls on kickoffs much at all in football unless it is an onside kick, which that one looked somewhere in between an onside kick and a squib kick. And for the Irish, why not? You had a good first drive to start the second half. Why not try to get this football back and give your team a chance? As we're already more than halfway through the third quarter with the running clock. If the Irish are going to climb back in this game, they're going to have to get moving fast. As this kick is set deep. Picked up at the 15-yard line. And a nice return, 20-plus yards. Nearly 25 yards out to the 38-yard line. That's Coney on the return.
The second half will start at their own 37.
So now the objective for Winslow Township, control the clock. Be able to do it all tonight, the short passing game and the running game. So see if they can keep it up.
Should be a little bit better this stream. Should be.
Wilson Jr. in motion. Bunched up with Jacob Mitchell at the bottom of your screen on first down. Trey Simmons on the sweep. Gets the pitch and falls ahead to the 39. Give him 2 yards on first down.
Picks up about 2. Bring up a 2nd and 8.
2nd and 8 upcoming.
From the 39.
So now if you're the Irish, stay ahead of the line of scrimmage. So 2nd and 8, definitely something you can work with if you're Camden Catholic. With this running clock, you can't afford to give up first downs. As the Eagles look to be taking it slow here on their first drive of the second half. Duran on the design rollout, fires downfield at the 40. And did Simmons catch that football? He did. Wow, what a grab. Over the outstretched arms for Camden Catholic of Andrew Crawford, who couldn't really do much. One of the better corners on this Irish team. And Trey Simmons with a highlight grab there to move the chains yet again for the Eagles.
The pickup of 26. Winslow's ball into Camden Catholic's territory at the 35-yard line.
Getting to the 3-minute mark here in the third quarter. Off the near 30-yard gain on a nice throw by Duran. A pitch to Simmons. Simmons trying to find a hole, falls forward past the 35-yard line.
5-yard, 2-yard gain again.
So a lot of design sweeps for this Eagles offense. Not sure if it's by design or just the fact that they're up by 30 points now and are trying to get more creative in the way they run the football out of the shotgun.
For Wilson, our 3rd game of the season. Please come out to enjoy another night at Winslow.
Thorpe to the right of Duran, trying to get things organized at the line. Obviously in no particular hurry. Mitchell over to the left. And Wilson Jr. at the bottom of the screen as well. Duran. Flag thrown. Duran steps up in the pocket. Lofts one towards the end zone. And it's caught for the touchdown. That throw was on the money. And James Wilson Jr. was there to grab it. His 2nd touchdown of the night. Now we'll see what that flag was for. The Irish are pointing in the direction of the Eagle offense. And by the way everyone's walking, it looks like that one's coming back.
It looks like it's coming back. Yep, coming back.
Despite the penalty, you can't ask for much more from Duran on that throw. Wilson just essentially had to put his hands out, and the ball was right there. What a beautiful throw, but it will not count on the scoreboard. So it's 2nd and 13 from the Irish 39. Duran out to the flat. Jacob Mitchell taking the yardage given to him, and he gets to the 32-yard line, maybe the 33. Almost back to the original line of scrimmage, setting up a 3rd and about call it 10 for the Eagles. As we are under 1 minute to go here in the 3rd quarter. So with this running clock, all we've seen is one possession from each team thus far in the 2nd half. But it was a nice possession for the Irish, and the Eagles, again, are moving the ball. Duran steps up. Duran delivers one, a wobbly throw to the end zone, and almost brought in by James Wilson. The spiral was a little off on that throw. Good defense by Camden Catholic. Wilson a little slow to get up, but he looks like he's okay. He's been busy here in the 2nd half. As time will wind down, and we will reach the end of the 3rd quarter. So the Irish put together their best drive of the game and avoid 0 on the scoreboard, but it's still 36-6 as we get ready for the final 12 minutes on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Time for the final 12 minutes on the Play-by-Play Sports Network as Duran is hit on the throw. That's a turnover on downs for the Eagles as Duran looks slow to get up. Hopefully he's okay. Again, final 12 minutes of action. Ethan Carpenter with the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Get the stream back up and running well here in the 2nd half. Thank you for following along here in what is the opening game for the Irish, the second game of the season for the Eagles. Eagles came in 0-1, but clearly looking like they're going to reach the 500 mark as they embark on what is a tough schedule after this. 3 of their next 4 games are on the road, but like I said earlier, next week they will be at home against Woodrow Wilson, live on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. As maybe in pain for the Eagles is Cam Miller. To be grabbing his leg for a second, but no attention from any trainers on him as both teams huddle up with 11:03 left in the fourth.
Sad news, Phillies fans. They gave up that 2-0 lead. It is 3-2 now.
As we take a look at the upcoming schedule, like I said, next Saturday, Woodrow Wilson, 7 p.m. on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. Then on the road, Timber Creek, Camden, and Pleasantville. Never easy, let alone 2 straight road games, but how about 3 this early in the season? And like we mentioned earlier, their first game of the season also was on the road, was supposed to be in Ocean City, but was rescheduled due to poor field conditions. And obviously, with the weather that has gone on as of late, not a surprise that there'd be any bad field conditions. We obviously offer our condolences to those affected by the flooding and the tornadoes. Just really a crazy week in the, really all across the state, South, Central, and North Jersey, but specifically in the South here with the tornadoes. It looks like the weather is going to be good here in the upcoming week as the Irish start their drive, and that ball is incomplete. Burr had Billy McCleary wide open. McCleary turned his head at the last moment, could not haul it in. Second down. Looked like Burr threw that off his back foot as well, so that probably didn't help, but that play was there to be made for McCleary, and if he brings that one in, it's probably a touchdown. Burr will give it to Hicks. Hicks trying to find room, and there's none to be had. Jeremiah Taylor makes the stop, along with a couple other defenders for the Eagles, setting up a 3rd down and long for the Irish.
We're going to bring up 3rd and 10.
Movement up front for the Eagles. It looks like number 76, Darian Smith.
You heard her.
So a 5-yard penalty will make this play a little more manageable for the Irish. Trying to capitalize off their nice drive they had to start the second half earlier. And only their second drive of this half as Burr takes a deep drop, flushed out to his left, throws over the middle, he's intercepted. Number 2 for Mitchell. And is he going to take it back? One man to beat, Hicks with the effort, and Mitchell with the touchdown.
For his second interception this time.
Number 2 for one of the best linebackers in the state of New Jersey.
Pushing the score to 42.
As there was a celebration in the back of the end zone, there's a flag, presumably for the celebration, as Mitchell jogs all the way back to the bench.
That might be a celebration penalty here.
So they'll add that to the kickoff. It's a 42-6 game. And you gotta love that athleticism from your linebacker. You could just take an interception all the way. First one, remember, he took all the way to the 2-yard line from about the same spot. Both interceptions were around near midfield.
And
you saw Mitchell do a little jog up and down the sideline. Not sure if that was something that he was holding himself accountable, like, hey, I got called for a celebration penalty, maybe I should just jog it off, or if that's something that Coach Kenny Scott calls of his players, like, hey, you know, not a good penalty there. Jog back and forth on the sideline for 20 yards. And now Winslow Township will line up for a 2-point conversion, holding a 36-point lead. And now a change at quarterback. Jalen Eichen now under center for the Eagles. Eichen, the lefty, fires to the goal line, intercepted. And they won't let Camden Catholic return it since it was a 2-point conversion. So it'll remain 42-6 with 9:35 left in this one. So that'll be it for Duren tonight. He will hit the bench for the Eagles, an impressive night. Again, this Winslow offense really balanced, and it showed last season. And tonight, through the air and on the ground, really been able to do it all against this Irish defense. Again, Duren, a senior quarterback, entering his 3rd season as the starter. 16 games, he's completed nearly 50% of his passes, a shade under 2,000 yards, and 18 touchdowns passing, also has 3 rushing touchdowns. And he's been working with new quarterbacks coach Christian Hackenberg, which it's got to be nice having a quarterback who's done it all in college and in the pros. He's been around the game for a long time, and he's helping share his knowledge of just his past experience with Duren, and it seems like the two are getting along really well, and it's helping with Duren's growth as a quarterback. And Duren really has star potential. Last season, he won the South Jersey Football Player of the Week after a career-high 358 yards and 4 touchdowns against Eastern. And that was really the game where both Duren and really the whole offense for Winslow Township really showed out. It was their best performance of the shortened 2020 season by far. Also saw a video of Duren hang cleaning 235 pounds, so he's strong as well. And he showed off his arm strength tonight. A couple of nice throws downfield. The short kick is fielded at the 40-yard line by the Irish. And on the return is Jurius Clark across the 45 to about the 42-yard line, and that's where the Irish will start their 3rd drive of the second half.
Take over in Winslow's territory. About 9 minutes left.
So nice opportunity here for the Irish to possibly put some more points on the scoreboard.
For our next home game,
and after what happened in the first half, it'd be a nice way to finish for the Irish if you could just outscore the Eagles here in the second half. Starters still in for the Irish, despite being down 36. As Burr hits Colin, and Colin, green grass in front of him across the 25, and he's brought down at the 21-yard line, but we'll see what this flag is for. And many in the crowd seem to think, well, the home side of the crowd seem to think that this one is on the Irish. And it is. By the body language, you can usually tell what team it's on. Still a nice play design there. You wonder how the Irish didn't experiment more with the short passing game in the first half. It's been really Burr trying to buy time all night, trying to find receivers downfield.
So that's against the offense, so that play is nullified. It's going to be 1st and 15.
But Burr has shown especially in this second half. He's done a great job of stepping up in the pocket, being a little more calm in his throws. You might remember the throw he had to McCleary earlier. Just McCleary couldn't bring it in as Burr takes the 1st and 15 snap, and he's flushed out to his right, and Burr gets back to the line of scrimmage and more, the initial line of scrimmage. Out of bounds across the 45, setting up his 2nd down. And call it maybe 8, as we're getting close to the 7:40 mark in the 4th quarter. 42-6 lead for the Eagles.
Our next opponent next week.
Burr on the low snap. Spins out of a would-be tackler, and Burr takes off. Burr's got the 1st down and more across the 25, so Burr showing off how elusive he can be in the pocket, and the chains move yet again for the Irish, who have looked much more fluid on offense since the half. Burr looking, Burr sets his feet, delivers a throw into the end zone, and a falling grab is made for the touchdown. Sean Cullen. And the offense has awoken for the Irish in the second half. 42-12 is our score. And there's more of that composure we were talking about earlier with Kevin Burr. Now settling into his new offense here in Camden Catholic's first game of the 2021-2022 season. And even down by 30, these are still some key snaps here in the 4th quarter for this offense. Matter of fact, one of Burr's quotes on social media, very concerned with getting 1% better each day in practice and in film session, and definitely opportunities to get 1% better even with only 6.5 minutes left in this game and down 30. As we will take you in on this break to the Coach's Corner. Head coach Kenny Scott, like we mentioned, 2020 South Jersey Sports Zone Coach of the Year, leading Winslow to a 5-1 record. First winning season since 2010-2011. And he's also a Winslow grad, graduated in 2003. And he's brought success to this Winslow program. And they're going to even their record at 1-1 this season, and they've got a lot of expectations for this year. And Coach Scott told me before the game, obviously, like any other school, just with COVID protocols, obviously practices didn't go exactly the way they wanted it to go. But the team has stuck together. They're about to grab their first win of the season as the Irish will go for 2 here. Hicks up the middle, nowhere to go.
Score remains 42.
Not much running room for Marquez Hicks tonight. But still, we've seen flashes of his brilliance on the ground. As we will take a quick audio break as we get towards the end of this one on the Play by Play Sports Network. And the onside kick attempt there for the Irish as we come back here with 6.5 minutes left in the final quarter. It looked like the Eagles got on that football. The indications from the Irish, yes, they do. The Irish recover the onside kick. Now, of course, in those situations, the team that kicks the onside kick is usually going to think that they recovered it if there's any doubt. But now at around midfield, the Irish will get a chance to add more points to the scoreboard here in the second half. Again, a running clock. We're under 6 minutes. But if you're the coaching staff for the Irish, you got to be happy with the second half, the signs of life that this team has shown after facing a 36-0 deficit at halftime. Still a decent amount of Irish fans left also on the far side of your screen as that pass from Burr, a tight throw into McCleary, but incomplete. Another flag on the field, looks like probably another false start. And the flags have been active tonight. And now Winslow jumped offside, so a second and short coming up for the Irish as they will literally walk their way into Eagle territory, a place that the Irish really weren't living in at all in the first half, especially the first quarter. And now in the second half, they've become very used to being on this side of the field. 2nd and 5, under 5 minutes to go. Burr will fake the short pass and send his eyes deep, and tripping and falling down. Refs thinking about maybe a flag, didn't see one fall. Obviously the Irish wanting a hold on that one. Looked like Jeremiah Paula on the far side. A little bit of confusion coming from the Irish sidelines as they set for a 3rd and 5. Obviously 4-down territory here. Hands off to Clark. Jurius Clark finds a lane, slips a tackle, still going on his feet inside the 5, into the end zone for an Irish touchdown. Great body control by Jurius Clark, the senior for the Irish, who seems to play all over the field. And now a 42-18 game with under 4 minutes to go. So it's been a very competitive second half. Both teams struggling, especially with tackling in this second half. Seems that the play design and everything, everybody seemed to be in the right spot. It's just the plays just haven't been made, and tackles have been eluded as Burr flushed out to his right. Little push pass into the end zone, and the 2-point conversion is good. 42-20. And I mean, to no surprise, it'll probably be another onside kick attempt, and why not if you're the Irish? Maybe make this thing interesting. Obviously still a 22-point deficit. As some fans file out here in Atco, New Jersey, trying to avoid the traffic from Winslow Township High School. Assume they will be here next week as the Eagles try to presumably go over 500, and they host Woodrow Wilson. Critical here that the Eagles get this onside kick and it's just sort of squash any ideas from this Irish team that maybe they can make this thing interesting here in the final 4 minutes. Kick for the Irish is recovered by the Eagles at midfield. Jeremiah Taylor falls on it for the Eagles. And now with the Eagles in possession of the football, you can say this one is just about over.
With 3, about 50 left in the game.
Now Duran back into the game. The pitch over to Trey Thorpe. And Thorpe had a nice run up the left side earlier in the first half. Almost looked identical there. So there's a flag on the field. We'll see if that one comes back. So Duran left the game on the 2-point conversion. You see the call there. Not sure if you guys can hear that, but the hold will send the Eagles back. So Duran left the game on the 2-point conversion, and we saw Jalen Aiken, sophomore quarterback, come into the game for the 2-point conversion. And I guess since this game got a little more interesting, I want to bring the starter back in with 3:40 to go and try and put a stamp on this win.
Right back to Trey, up the middle.
Thorpe breaks a tackle at the 47, and nice running across midfield into Irish territory, falling down at the 42-yard line. Give him 15 yards on that run. And now a very manageable second down upcoming for the Eagle offense. And now with no more running clock, because it's only a 22-point game, got to keep the ball on the ground to keep the clock running as we get to 3 minutes left here in the fourth. Duran, another handoff to Thorpe. Thorpe has room and trips up. He had some space, but couldn't keep his footing, but he does get the first down to the 35.
So once again, I want to thank everyone for coming out to our season opener. Please don't forget, next week we have Woodrow Wilson in the house. Wilson won today.
As we will see another timeout. 2:46 left in the fourth. We'll be back for the final few moments after this on the Play-by-Play Sports Network. So the Eagles driving here with 2:46 left, leading by 22 at the Irish 35-yard line. Duran hands it off to Thorpe, and Thorpe has an open lane, fighting through some would-be tacklers. Falls down at the 24.
All the way up to about the 24. Moving once again. First down.
Again, the Eagles will move to 1-1 on the season after their highly anticipated first matchup against Woodbridge, where they fell 26-14. Thorpe to the 20.
Right side this time. It's about
And tonight it was really a well-balanced attack for the Eagles. Last season, they really did a great job of their defense and special teams getting involved, and it was sort of the same thing here tonight. Like last season, 8 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries, even a blocked punt. Just really active and doing the little things. Besides the flashy offensive plays, really doing the little things to make them successful. And it's good to see that here tonight for them here in the early going. Duran gives it to Thorpe, nowhere to go. Great job by that Camden Catholic front to stop Thorpe from reaching the edge. Irish definitely putting forth great effort here in the second half. Would have been easy to hang their heads down by 36, but they came out in the second half and orchestrated a nice drive behind the legs of quarterback Kevin Burr, who really, all things considered, with some of the errant snaps he took and just always moving out of the pocket, there were a lot of times where he could have been very uncomfortable tonight, but Burr kept his composure and had a few nice plays, and there were a couple drops that really didn't go his way as Duran flushed out of the pocket, fires one into the end zone, and overthrows his man.
incomplete, 4th down.
Out of the back of the end zone, it's now 4th down and 8 for the Eagles. We'll see what they do here. Keep it conservative. 37 seconds left. Again, thank you to everyone tuning in tonight. And apologies again for the little bit of technical difficulties in the first half. Things going smoothly here in the second. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also follow us on Instagram at PBPSN. We post plays of the day highlighting some of the great athletes that the state of New Jersey has to offer. As Thorpe is brought down at the 30. And a late hit there by Camden Catholic. No flags there. It wouldn't have surprised me considering how many flags these refs have decided to throw tonight. An active night for them. And so Camden Catholic will move to 0-1 on the young season. But they were, again, vastly improved last year. And they're looking to trend on the upwards direction, especially after going 3-17 in the 2018 and 2019 seasons combined. And obviously, starting your season on the road against Winslow Township is not an easy task, especially with a transfer quarterback. Burr again escapes. Tries to get a man open, incomplete. This clock stops at 18 seconds. Deficit have really made the Eagles. So 2nd and 10 from the 30. Presumably the last play of this one. Burr throws to the outside, has his man spinning away from a defender is Aiden Stewart, his first catch of the night. Now Camden Catholic, I guess, trying to capitalize on some momentum and try to get something else on the scoreboard maybe if something breaks their way with 8 seconds left of 42-20 game. Now the fans filing out for both sides. Again, a decent showing for the Irish in the opposing stands. And a great night for football again after all the bad weather that was in New Jersey over the last week. It's really cleared up. It was very humid going in the kickoff, but it's really cooled down. It's nice here tonight. They're starting to get that fall football feeling in the air. Seems like the summer just flew by. So out of the timeout, now probably the last play for Camden Catholic. We put together a nice 20-point second half. They do win the second half, no matter what. So a 20-6 advantage. That's something that you can definitely take into your next contest as Burr takes the last snap of the game. On the screen, Clark spins out of a would-be tackler, and Clark is brought down at the 42, and that will do it here from Atco. So Winslow really came out firing in the first half. They took a 36-0 lead into the break. But Camden Catholic made it interesting in the second half. They put up 20 points, but still the final score, Winslow 42, Camden Catholic 20. So for myself, Ethan Carpenter, and my cameraman, Simon Rosenwasser, in the first half, Norm in the second half, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Goodbye.